All right, thanks for watching. This video's how to set up a project on our VLS laser. In order to do that, you need a couple of things. First off, you need some sort of image or graphic, either taken from the internet, this Haas logo, or something you drew in Fusion, or you can create it directly in Coreldraw or in Illustrator. I'm not familiar with Illustrator, so I'm going to do it in Coreldraw. So we're going to get started by getting the Coreldraw project going. So we go New Document. Under the settings, we need to make sure our laser's lasing bed area is 32 inches wide and 18 inches tall. So I always set the laser, the sheet size to that so that it's the biggest we can do. And then we have to make sure we set it to RGB, which is the colors, red, green, blue. And then we click OK. Now, basically, we could use these commands to draw out whatever we want, and we'll use some of them to make modifications, but I find it easier, given this is an engineering class, to create your projects either in Fusion or just take them directly from the internet. So let's first do one from the internet. So we're going to upload this Haas logo. So we're just going to right click and save as image to the downloads. And then we're going to come over to Coreldraw and we go File, Import. And there it is, and we can go Import. And then we can put it down. Obviously, then we can resize it. In this manner, I could hit print and I could go out and laser it just like this. And by the way, here it'll give you the sizes. So if I wanted it to be specifically like 18 inches long, as long as this lock button's in place right there, it will then adjust it correctly to the right size. So now it's exactly 18 inches long. If I went out and lasered it right now, it would just like a printer run back and forth, burning into the material. All this red, basically none of the white. If I wanted to cut it out, then I have to do other steps. Okay, now we have the Haas logo. We're going to show you how to import something from Fusion. So this is how to import like a image or a PDF from the internet. Now how do we do it from Fusion? So here's a quick part I made. When you're planning to use the laser, thickness doesn't really matter because it only will cut in two directions, X and Y. So I just use really easy numbers like 1 or 0.1 for the Z on any extrusion. So now how do we get this into Coreldraw? So what we actually do is we have to create a drawing of it. So we're going to go create a new drawing from design. The size of the sheet doesn't really matter. It only matters in that you want your part to be a 1-to-1 scale. So you need to pick a sheet size that is at least bigger than the part. So this is 3x3, so I can use 8.5 by 11. So I go ahead and click OK. And then there's the part. I need to change the ratio before we start to 1-to-1. So there's my 1-to-1. And then I can click OK. And now what I want to do is delete all this. This can be done once we get to Coreldraw as well, but I find it easier here because it was really quick. Then we just output it as a PDF. So I'm going to label this laser demo and hit save. Now we can come over to Coreldraw and we can go File, Import, and we can now import this thing. It was mostly curves. That's what I clicked on, and there it is at the proper scale. Now, this Haas logo will print like a laser printer. So the laser will run back and forth burning wherever there's red, which will work for this. On this one, which is what I'm going to focus on to start with, is I want to cut out the square and the circle, and I want to write test just like it sees here. So it would laser back and forth and do it, but I can also have it what's called vector lasering, which is where the laser just follows these lines similar to a CNC machine. So, okay, first thing we got to do is we have to ungroup this object. So we first go like this and click ungroup object, and this will allow us to then go in and I can select, like, for example, just this circle or just this text. So now that it's ungrouped, what we want to do is, remember I said I want to cut out the square and the circle. So with the laser, the way the laser determines what should be cut versus what should be just like engraved is based on the line type and the color. So under the object properties, we have to set the line type to hairline. Basically, hairline is what, oops, I have to click on it first. So I'm going to click on everything because I actually want everything to be hairline in this example. So we are going to set it as all hairline. And then now, based on the color, it determines whether it does engraving in a vector manner or cutting in a vector manner. So in this case, we want to cut this square, and I can hold down Shift, this circle. I'm not sure I got that. We'll just do one at a time. That square, and we simply change this to pure red. So we just go 155. Notice how it turned pure red hairline. That will cut. This will also change to pure red hairline. That will also cut. Now, the text we want to cut as a vector engrave. So what we need to do is change that to pure blue hairline. And that will cut in pure blue. So what will happen now is the laser will probably first start, it'll come over here and burn in this test. Then it'll punch all the way through the material, given that the laser can cut through whatever thickness material you've chosen, and cut around here, and it'll be done. Where this will take probably about a minute to do, this would take about an hour because it's got to run back and forth, lasering this all out. Now, let's say we want to do stuff like this to a logo like this. Okay, first I'm going to shrink this down to 6 inches long so we can work with it. Now, we need to do some conversions of this. So we select the logo, and the first thing we want to do is what's called a quick trace. And what that quick trace is going to do is, now if I grab it, you can see I have two images. This is a, JPEG or PNG image. This is a more of a graphic image that we can now manipulate in here. So we're going to go ahead and, well, we're going to keep it for a second because we need to fix this corner. So if we click down here, the first thing we want to do is I want to give it a hairline, and in blue, all the edges. And then I can go in here and I can go over to the fill button and I want to say no fill. So now you can see we have close to our logo. We're going to have to now do some editing. The Haas part's great. It's these corners. And we can try deleting. Oops. Oh, I forgot. We got to ungroup the object just like we did on the other thing. We're going to delete that. We don't need it anymore. And then we can delete elements. So there was a square that went all the way around the outside. We may want to get rid of this line here. We tried delete. There, that went. Now, we need to put a radius in this corner. In order to do this, we first have to select the circle command, and I'm going to create a circle or an ellipse here, and then adjust its size till I get to the desired shape or arc I want. And then I'm going to convert this circle into an arc. I'm having a little trouble here. There we go. There we go. Right there. Now that I have it as roughly the same radius, I'm going to go ahead and change this into just the arc segment that I want by clicking on the arc command here. And then changing the angles in these two boxes, in this case from 270 to 0, which is the degree I want. You can see we have, it's kind of opposite of what we have. So I then changed this from 270 to 0 to get the angles I wanted. And then I need to change that to a hairline and blue so it will engrave it. Okay, now we want to trim these lines away. this here is our trim tab. So crop, knife, virtual segment, delete is the easiest one to use because if I just click on this corner, it will delete those. Now I probably didn't get that radius perfectly right. I would have gone back and edited it some more. But now if we laser this out, it's going to cut all along just the blue lines to give us the Haas logo. Let's say we're trying to make a plate. We could go ahead and add a rectangle over the top of it. Notice it's already in hairline blue, so I'm going to change it to red because we're going to use this to cut this plate out. There we go. Oops, because I had already selected that. Undo, undo. Let's go now and set it to hairline red. And I could then go like this, and I know that I want this to be 7 inches wide and 2 inches tall, or 2.25 inches tall. We can now grab the center of it and try to center it over that logo. The next video will show us how to set up the laser, the settings in Coreldraw, and then the settings in the laser, and then how to set up the laser to actually cut it.